Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, the Bloviator is back. Also, the V-Team takes a look at white supremacists. And Alabama is keeping its school children away from strange and unusual rituals.
Fixball, 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 fixball. You put Edwina back in ball. Back in ball. Edwina back in ball. Go fixball. Go fixball. Go, go.
Yoga? Welcome to Alabackwards. Have a nice day. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The V, the voice of Alabama politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by the V-Team. Welcome all.
Hey.
Hello.
Well,
Special appearance by our Chip.
Yeah.
Special appearance.
Special appearance.
Well,
It was guest. I'm just saying.
all right, well,
I'll never be a guest on this show.
No, he'll always be family, and he'll always come home for my fried green tomatoes.
First stop on the way back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, he came by.
Well,
stayed
you've
with
been
us.
in Washington, and now you're off to Columbia for graduate school. And
To pay an insufferable amount of rent and tuition, yeah.
And don't forget the air conditioner.
well, we're very proud of you. I hope you enjoy your. Yeah, I know you'll
Thank
enjoy
you.
it. Yeah, so it'll be great. One of the things that we, sometimes we don't talk enough about, I think, or maybe some people think we talk too much about, is white supremacists are still alive and well in the South. And, it's been 2 years since Charlottesville, where a young woman lost her life due to the actions of white supremacists who took a car and ran it into a crowd of folks. People seem to not realize, or at least realize enough, that some of the groups that were there, actually, one of them comes from Alabama, and it's the League of the South. They are a leading white supremacist group, according to the Anti-Defamation League. I've read some of the things that their founder, Michael Hill, has said even recently, and I had a hard time figuring out how you even put those on television. But they are part of a lawsuit that's resulting from the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. And Chip, this is a group started in Killen, Alabama, and they're still going strong.
I mean, it's so shocking to think that we have come so far, but still we have things like this, just simmering around everywhere. And I think this is something that I think has come into the national conscious since the Unite the Right rally, that people are noticing that this stuff is still there, and it's gotten injections from different places and has seemed to come back to life via social media, all these different things. And it's something that we all need to pay attention to, because as we saw a couple of weeks ago, this kind of racial hatred fuels things like the El Paso shooting.
Yeah.
And really, it's shocking that something like that hasn't happened here, because we have that kind of violence and that kind of hatred here, just like other places in the country. And the fact that this group is just existing in Alabama is just really disturbing to think about.
Susan, they say that their purpose, one of their purposes, I'm paraphrasing, is to restore the South to an all-white nation.
They do.
They want it to be an all-white South. I think this quote here, Southern man, next time you consider making nice with the N-word and another harsh word for Jewish individuals, just remember what they've done to your civilization. The South must once again be white man's land. Michael Hill, December 2017.
And I think that people across the country don't realize they've got this sitting in their backyard, and especially in the South. I mean, we've had racism problems for years, but now they're boiling back up to the surface again, and it's frightening. I know when we were discussing it in the pre-show, and the when these things were said and when some of these events have happened here in Alabama, it's just horrifying.
It's pure hate-filled racism, and if I'm remembering correctly, they did have a Facebook group. And I think it was just early this year that it finally got taken down before it was able to reach other people.
Yeah, and they had reached people, and we'll get into that. There's been a few politicians in Alabama that have embraced the group. There have been a few that have denounced, but very few that have denounced the group. But it's very disturbing indeed. One of the things that when we were looking at this group, we found one politician who was very supportive of this neo-Confederate racist group, and that was Auditor Jim Zeigler. Jim Ziegler was a member of their Facebook group. He also said that he spoke at one of their rallies, and he said that what he saw there were the salt of the earth people, and he also said that he understood their mission was to protect the South and turn it back to a white nation. And he said this, in quote, let me see if I can find out.
I have it right here.
Okay.
It said, as long as I'm an elected servant of the citizens of Alabama, I will stand with those who build our heritage and not with those who tear it down.
So, and he was referring to the League of the South. I think it's troubling that any elected official, Susan, is join forces with likes of the League of the South.
Absolutely frightening. Even to address them, to be associated in any way, it's disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing.
That's what I'm genuinely confused about. Does he not know that they are a racist organization when he says salt of the earth people?
Well, he didn't say that they were, he didn't consider them racist. They were salt of the earth people.
Right, okay.
But Chip, I mean,
Look.
Go ahead.
Look, I guess it's plausible that you don't know, the group that you're going to speak to.
Right.
But I find it highly implausible that you're a member of their Facebook page and you see the things that they post and you're going to speak to them and you don't realize that they have some pretty virulent racist messaging.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff where you may not, Jim Ziegler may not be going out on television and, advocating for the South to rise again. But when you're going and speaking to these organizations and you're lurking in their Facebook groups, whether you do or you don't post, I mean, you're giving them legitimacy.
Well, and part of this rose from the fact that we were looking at Jim Ziegler because he has made himself the face of this no toll bridge, of the I-10 toll bridge. Mm-hmm. He has made his face that face. So we wanted to see what other organizations or Facebook groups he actually advocated for, and he did advocate he was on their site, and he spoke with their group, and he said they were salt of the earth. And so it's disturbing to me that this guy who's advocating to be the champion of the toll bridge also champions the racist group. Now, he's not been out on television championing them, but on television he did say that he found them to be salt of the earth folks. And I find that terribly disturbing. But what else brought this up, we're going to have to carry over to the next segment. I want to get to it because he paraphrased George Wallace when George Wallace said, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. We're going to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back.
What a great opportunity for your success. Adding 500,000 highly skilled employees to our workforce by 2025 is how we stay ahead in Alabama. Our economy is stronger than it's been in years, and a skilled workforce is more important than ever. Things move fast, so choose your path. Your success is waiting, plus a great future for Alabama. Success Plus. Go for it.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy. create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. Access to clean, affordable energy continues to be an issue of vital importance in the halls of government and around the kitchen tables across our nation. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels to solar power and beyond.
What are you doing today, babe?
I thought I'd head down to the lake with the guys, do a little fishing. Of course, none of us will be wearing our seatbelts. I'll lose control of the truck, wrap it around a tree, and kill us all.
Okay.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. You just can't believe what goes on between the breaks. Just unbelievable. Are you okay now?
You don't want to know what goes on in between the breaks, really.
Poor closed captioning, folks. One of the things before we shift over to talking about the I-10 bridge itself with trepidation is that Ziegler went on radio up in Birmingham and was talking about how John Cooper, the man that is the head of the Alabama Department of Transportation, is over this project. Great public servant, a brilliant businessman, has been a CFO, a CEO, done super things, came out of retirement to run ALDOT. He didn't need the money, wanted to help the state. Ziegler out there compared him to George Wallace and said that he wants to toll all the roads in Alabama. He wants to do all this big tolling. And it was just an absolute lie. I mean, Ziegler is a bloviating prevaricator, or like I like to call it, a big bag of wind that lies constantly. But that's kind of what I wanted to
Descriptive.
Well, let's also get into that he was saying on radio that the next day we're going to toll 280, I-65, I-59, and anybody that drives those roads knows that's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. I mean, I do want to get to all that. I want to go to some facts about the I-10 toll bridge. But before we get to the facts, Charlie, as you and I both know, and Susan knows, if you say anything that these no-toll bridge people do not like, they have a Facebook group with about 48,000 people on it. Most of them are probably nice people. There's a few of them that are just wretched. But anyway, Chip, you've never spoken about this bridge. If you say anything that they don't like, they will send you emails with F you, F you, F you. They will threaten you. They will call you out on anything. They'll criticize your hair, your speech, anything.
How does my toupee look today, by the way?
It looks great, by the way.
Thank
You got it straight today.
Thank you so much.
You look great, Rachel.
Well, and that brings up a good
Appreciate
point, and this is slap her face. Several of the people on that group, and I think we have the messages here, said that Charlie needed her face slapped, and all that you said was that Jim Ziegler was
A troll under the bridge.
a troll under the bridge. I think that's a fact. Another one said she should have her face slapped. They called Josh a really nice guy because he said they shouldn't toll the bridge. So they like that. But if you said that you wanted to look at it constructively, they didn't like that. They called us ass somethings.
Yeah.
Ass somethings.
There it is.
Yeah. Well,
there you go.
Got some numbers in it, or number sign.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, those things you post on Facebook, those are public, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and you can see Sandra Ripple Walters. She's not afraid of
They
what
can also
what
be
she
used
did.
in evidence in a courtroom, by the way.
Then last week, I wrote a thing calling Ziegler a bloviator, and Mary Rebecca Park, she called me, watch our crap show. She called me a number of names, something about our advertisement. And then she encouraged people to light him up, which light him up, if everybody knows, is a paramilitary term or military term for opening fire on somebody or any type of violent act on a person. So I would say, Miss Mary, you need to watch yourself. but I'm just sick of these people.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, I am so against the tolling. No, I'm just kidding. Look, I mean the reality. I know we don't want to get into it too much, but that bridge is going to cost $2 billion. If you want it within the next 50 years, the reality, unless you have three options, okay? Number one is you pay the toll. Number two is you go to Montgomery and advocate that they raise gas taxes even more. Or number three, you go to Washington and advocate that they raise federal gas taxes and all that other stuff even more. So those are your three options, because you don't just get a bridge for free.
Right, and that's the thing we've been saying. I am all for this toll group saying what they want to say and advocating for what they want to say. But you know what? It is led by, now I'm led to believe it's not Ziegler. It's some other guy who's a Tea Party guy who's leading it. And basically what they're saying is they want a free bridge. They want the federal government and the state government to give them a free bridge.
Now, who's wanting stuff for free? Just saying.
Well, it's a good thing they aren't immigrants coming over here looking for a handout. They are Americans. They deserve a free bridge. No, you don't. Death, taxes, and tolls are something that you're going to have to face because Republicans want to toll bridge. This is coming out of D.C. President Trump wanted these private partner relations. You don't like it? Talk to the president you voted for.
I want to get a couple of facts straight here about this toll. Everybody's talking about this $6 toll. It's going to be $12 a day. No, it's not. People who are in those counties down there that use it frequently will have a special pass that will cost $2.25 to cross the bridge.
Right.
It'll be about $4.50 a day. Now, take this back historically. They built a toll road down in that area back in the 1920s.
Right.
And at that time, it cost $1.
Right.
It only cost $1. Well, guess what? In today's monetary values, that was $12 to cross that bridge.
And listen, people don't want to pay for things. I get that. But then you don't have it. And the state of Alabama and Governor Ivey has decided that we need to modernize the port and that we need a modern bridge for it to go. And Ziegler made this another lie. He said that he talked about the bridge at one point was $800 million. And he said it must have gotten pregnant, and that's why it cost so much more. He seems to be very preoccupied with sex a lot of times.
And that's something that so bothers me about Ziegler, and something that I so want the Block the Toll group to understand is his advocating is not helping anything. No. He is hurting this cause more than he is helping anything. Yeah. And they nobody seems to realize that.
Well, they don't understand that he's a joke in the media. Media quotes him because he's a bloviator. He's
right,
a joke.
But in Montgomery, the people that matter, the leadership, this kind of thing turns them off to hearing anything that group has to say because he makes this his platform like Wanda's death, like what were the other ones, the Wallace paintings and the all of these little things that he blows up in a big proportion. I mean, this is not the first time he's done this.
No, he just wants publicity.
We were talking about this before. First, I mean, this was the thing. First, it was the Wallace portraits. Then it was Bentley corruption. Then it was Wanda's desk. Then it was I might run for governor. Then it was I might run for Senate. And now it's this.
Yeah.
And I mean, what he does is he takes things and uses them for his political advantage.
Right.
And as soon as one of those things runs out of steam, he moves on to something else.
Right.
And that will happen with this too.
Anyway, we're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics.
Hey man, what are you doing today?
Play the game. Thought I'd go out for a drive later maybe. Text some friends while I'm doing it. Scroll through social media. Kill a family 4 in a head-on collision.
Cool, man.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
A lot can change in 5 years. Except those smile lines you treated with Bellafill. Because that's about how long Bellafill will keep them smooth and filled. 5 years. Now you can always look your best without all those injections, appointments, and costs. Bellafill is the only dermal filler that stimulates and maintains collagen growth long term. Now time is on your side.
back to the voice of Alabama politics. And Charlie, in the vein of this is just too dumb to believe, Alabama has a law that says that you cannot teach school children yoga at school. They can't have yoga because it's some kind of mystical.
Yeah, according to them, it falls under induction of hypnotic states, guided imagery, meditation, and yoga. So, okay, yoga is a form of stretching. I am confused, and deep breathing. Please tell me where the confusion lies.
Well, you know, if you weigh 350 pounds, stretching and deep breathing could put you in a pretty damn hypnotic state. I was thinking about a couple of our lawmakers, by the way.
I heard that if you do yoga, you can go into nirvana, which is apparently listening to heavy metal music and worshiping Satan.
Wow, well, I didn't know that. You know, it really, I mean, you know, and I don't want to get too far out here, but it's kind of just ridiculous, right?
It's absolutely ridiculous. Studies have shown over and over again that when you have children that are acting out, when you have children that tend to be problem children, and you introduce this type of exercise, stretching, it calms them down.
Yeah, stretching and breathing.
And the teachers end up with less interclassroom problems.
Yeah.
But we don't care about classrooms in Alabama,
well,
so.
I mean, I don't know if a lot of people do yoga, but whenever we go out to the mall or we go out to dinner, I mean, you go out to dinner and there are women in yoga pants. I mean, you know, $200 yoga pants.
I don't know that the number of people that wear yoga pants and the number of people that do yoga exactly correlates. But the thing about yoga is that it's very good for discipline. It's very good for control, which is something that I would think that we would want our children in school to be learning.
They could focus their little minds.
So
they could learn more.
I took yoga in school.
Yeah.
And it was good. It made you feel better. You had better cores, better strength. But in Alabama, it could put you in a hypnotic state, much like the state legislature's logic. So,
I mean, this came up this last legislative session.
It did.
Yeah, and they still didn't reverse it. I mean.
No, because they had to argue about what you could say. Could you say the word dimse? You certainly couldn't say swami. I'm sure of that, unless it was way down upon the swami.
Or downward dog.
They're not fans of hypnotic states, but they'll sure dope their kid up on ADHD medication real quick. Yep, just saying. Ouch.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right.
That's right. Well, one of the things, we got about 4:20 on the clock.
Free the weed.
I have no idea what that means. The Medical Marijuana Commission had its first meeting, Chip, this last week, and mainly it was a procedural meeting. But they talked about last session. This commission was set up because there was a movement to move a medical marijuana bill, which died because there's opposition to it, and they want more time to study it. Because in Alabama, legislation. True legislation means having a couple of years of studies, which you ignore, and then you pass whatever you want to pass.
Yeah.
But this is a bill to allow for medical marijuana. Right?
Yeah, I mean, and it was close to passing in its original form to allow medical marijuana and to put us in line with a lot of other states that allow medical marijuana, which has been proven to have a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about this is that that's what we do. Like you were saying, we spend years, and it would be really great if we based our decisions in Alabama off of evidence.
Yeah.
Like we actually did a
Science.
study. Yeah,
Logic.
we did a study. And, you know, I think it might be, what's that school in Birmingham that studied this stuff?
UBH.
Yeah,
UAB.
That one.
That
one.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think
We're joking.
I think they've studied this, and I think you know they've said that it has lots of benefits. So instead of that, we just have a task force for task forces, which coordinates our task forces.
UAB.
Meanwhile, we have children that are having 100 epileptic seizures a day.
UAB is one of the finest research centers in the Southeast, and certainly the premier center in Alabama, and when it comes to medical issues.
But honey, you're forgetting the part where when the legislators get it and they need to study it for 2 years, I think a lot of times it's to study it to see how them and their buddies can make money off of
Well,
it before they pass
Well,
it.
and like, you know, I mean, I think, Charlie, you would advocate that they actually try the product, wouldn't you?
I think everybody should try everything once.
God, that's so millennial.
I will hand it to the committee, though. They did cover some good points. They did. It was very logical. It wasn't emotional. They talked about taxation. They talked about how to distribute it, and all of these things. So there was some real thought put into that committee.
Dr. Tim Nelson, a senator out of Florence. He's a very serious man. He's behind this. Mike Ball, representative, former law enforcement man. He's very passionate about it. I think that they can get this done next session if they will stop with the foolishness. I mean, somebody was all worried about secondhand smoke. It's prescribed by a medical doctor, and I know a lot of my friends in law enforcement are worried about more crime on the street. If you want to reduce crime, it is not weed, it is alcohol. People don't usually, smoke a bunch of weed and go out and rob stores. They do drink alcohol, rob stores, and beat their wives.
Exactly.
I don't have a problem with. I think the commission is better than nothing, and it's good that we're thinking about it. I didn't mean for that to come off that way. I just worry that we'll do what we do with everything in Alabama and have a task force for everything, and then never actually get around to think about it.
I think one of the things that's finally got the legislature's attention is the revenue generate in taxes that we so desperately need in the state.
Well, and I think that, again, this is, in my mind, that may, and generally that's what they think is how much money can we make. But at this point, what is it that we can do to stop human suffering? There are studies that suggest that we could stem the opioid crisis by offering these people medical marijuana. It's highly regulated. And, what can we do to help our neighbor live their lives better and longer?
And I would just would add that, people were, having all of these hissy fits about CBD oil before they legalized that in Alabama. And have you heard all of the horror stories of people just doing really bad stuff on CBD oil?
Not one. And understand, we're not just talking about, we're talking about serious things like epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, things that can't really be controlled with conventional medicine.
Glaucoma?
Glaucoma.
Right. Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it right there. You okay with that?
I'm fine.
All right. You've been watching the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.